Welcome. This is session 3. Session 3. I hold up these numbers because I don't want anybody to get confused. This is the Talitha Kum workshop. There are a total of 7 videos. The first video is an introduction, orientation type thing, just to let you know what the workshop is all about. There are 6 sessions to this workshop. Each session has its own video. So now we're on session 3. And some of you may be getting this video for the very first time. This may be your first introduction to the Talitha Kum workshop. And you may jump right in, but please do not. If you have decided to join us, then I want you to go to the beginning and do first the introductory video. And then look at session 1. This online group started August 4th. And this video is the introduction to the 3rd session. That means that those people who were accepted into the group have done session 1 and session 2. This week has been a real good learning experience for me. I learned 2 lessons, one directly from the workshop and one from the news. A woman who I think she has received an Oscar or an Oscar nomination. I know she's a great actress. She's quoted this: "May you live long enough to know why you were born." Man, did that hit me. May you live long enough to know why you were born. I believe I was born to do this workshop. I have worked so many jobs, had so many careers, so many, real estate, you name it, I did it. But this is my calling. And I'm very blessed that I lived long enough to know why I was born. I hope that this workshop will move you in that direction. There's something else that happened to me as well. One of the people who is in this group was allowing that little boy to talk and working through a situation that had happened to this little boy. So the adult was listening and the adult is asking questions. They're doing what we're asking them to do here. The most amazing thing happened. What this adult thought was a very negative situation turned out to be one of the greatest positives that he'd ever experienced. And when he passed it on to me, I experienced exactly the same thing. What the little boy said was he was placed in a situation that was extremely painful and extremely uncomfortable. And the little boy said to him, I could have done better if I had had more information to work with. Many times we hear parents say, I was given children, I had children, but I was not given a handbook on how to raise those children. And that is so true. Parents do not come with a handbook on how to raise their children. But the opposite of that is also true. Children do not have a handbook on how to deal with parents. In fact, Children are ill-equipped to deal with most of the situations that come up in their lives as children. For example, you may be in a perfectly happy household, and an accident happens and one person dies. There is no handbook to tell that child how to deal with the loss of a parent. And more than likely, that other parent is grieving so hard themselves that they don't even have time to guide that child through. Children do not have a handbook. You ever hear an adult say to a child, you need to learn how to act. You need to learn how to act. How does a child learn how to handle situations with no one there to teach them? Most of the time the situation happens, the child experiences it, and then maybe later on learns how to handle it. For example, Monday through Friday, you have these attentive parents, parents who are going to work, parents who are peaceful, and for some reason on Friday night, the father decides to go out and get drunk. That little child does not have a handbook to tell them how to deal with a drunk father. We can go on and on with that, but I'm just saying to you how impressed I was with what happened when this man decided to follow the guidelines of the workshop. I have been doing work with the Talitha Kum model for 30 years, and I am still learning and still growing. It is a very positive experience that I'm having with this model. Session 3. In Session 3, I want to re-emphasize the importance of practice. The more you speak to that little girl, that little boy, the more you allow that little girl or little boy to speak to you, to talk to you, the more trust that little boy or little girl has in the relationship. When this participant carried me through that process that led to that little boy saying, if I had more information, I could have done better. It didn't happen like that. No, it happened as a result of him continuing to allow that little boy to talk, continuing to practice, and continuing to build the relationship with that little boy. I cannot overemphasize the importance of practice. Think about boot camp. When you go to boot camp, from the first day you walk in, you will do things over and over and over again. Because many times in military boot camp, you're being prepared to go into situations that could be life-threatening. A lot of the situations that we face as adults can be life-threatening. Even if it's not life-threatening, situations can hold you back. The weight on your shoulders from the past. The weight on your shoulders from trauma, from abuse, from neglect, from abandonment, can hold you back from your true purpose. So the Talitha Kum workshop is a tool. It is not about creating debate. It is about giving you a tool and an opportunity to go down inside of yourself and to look into the black box. Every time you hold a conversation with that child, you are looking into the black box. The black box holds your truth. When you allow that little boy or little girl to talk to you, it will not always be bad news. And a lot of times, because of trauma, we have blocked out some of the blessings, some of the really good things that happened along the way. What often appears as a curse on close examination can be a blessing. Many of the skills that we have as adults, we learned as children. And sometimes we learn them on our own. Sometimes we learn them by watching other people. Sometimes what we had to do, because we were not given a handbook, we had to write the handbook. Does that mean that the handbook is written in stone? No, it is not. The handbook was written by a child who was trying to survive. Many of the survival skills that child acquired may not be the best skills to have as an adult. This is your opportunity to go into that black box, to take out that which you need today as an adult, and to leave behind that which you do not need. So I cannot overemphasize to you the importance of practice. In-person workshops, we do meditations, we do prayers, we do hand washing, we even do massaging. I'm going to say to you, if you have worked through session 1 and session 2, before you start session 3, look back on 1 and 2 and see if there's anything you missed or anything you want to improve on. But before you go into session 3, reward yourself. I can't tell you what to do, but reward yourself. Session 3 is where the rubber hits the road. You were asked in the very beginning to pick an incident. I didn't give you an incident. I didn't say what kind of incident. I'm hoping that you chose an incident that would not be too rough to handle in session 3. Most of us have major incidents that we will eventually have to handle. But right now, we're looking at an incident, and you're talking to that little child, that little boy, that little girl about let's handle this particular incident. In session 3, you're going to need a red candle and you're going to need a white candle. The white candle always represents the child, because the child was innocent. Let me repeat that. The child was innocent. The white candle represents the child. In session 3, you will name the perpetrator. If you were abandoned, you would name the person who abandoned you. If you were bullied, you would name the person who bullied you. Whatever incident you chose to work on, you will now name that person. Session 3 is often the session where people choose to leave. They choose to run away. And they choose to do so because they become fearful. So don't be surprised if you experience fear. But allow yourself to write that fear, work through that fear, talk to that little child about that fear, and come to some agreement. Because now you are an adult and you can support that child in that fear. You can let that child know that you are there for them. And what we're trying to do is let you know that we are here for you. We are here to support you. So if the fear crops up, hey, I'm scared. But do not quit. Don't let session 3 be your drop-off point. You're almost halfway through. Don't quit before the miracle happens. In session 3, you're simply naming the perpetrator. That's all. Give the perpetrator a name. When you give that perpetrator a name, you are to constantly reassure that little boy or that little girl that they're safe, that you're there for them, that you're supporting them. Safety is what the child needs to hear from you. Let the child know it's safe, it's okay. This person can no longer hurt you. That's all Section 3 is about. Practice, 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 and do not, under any circumstances, give up. Your miracle is right around the corner. Just keep moving forward. Thank you so much.